Doflamingo returning to fight the celestial dragons in Marie's Wa, Aokiji being a secret double agent, and Enel coming back from the moon? Today we're talking about some of the craziest One Piece theories that could potentially come true. If you guys want to see theory videos like this maybe once every month or two, let me know in the comments and by liking this video, because we can make some really cool videos. I could post on my community tab asking you guys for your theories, and I could go over those in the videos. We can feature a lot of your guys' theories, so let me know if you're down for that. I think it's a cool idea. Anyways, the first topic of this video is Enel, because a lot of anime only fans don't know that Enel is actually still alive and kicking. It's a canon event in One Piece that after Enel leaves Skypiea on the arc Maxim, he does make it to the moon. This little story was told on the cover pages of manga chapters, and unfortunately a lot of these cover stories don't make it into the anime anymore. Like episodes 68 and 69, for example, are about Kobe and Helmeppo's adventures joining the Marines, and that was a cover story that was adapted to the anime, but those episodes performed a lot worse than normal episodes, so they stopped putting them in the anime, which sucks because we don't get cool little stories like this one with Enel anymore. But now that the history lesson's over, let's talk about these Enel cover stories. The general summary is that Enel makes it to the moon and he meets these little small robots called the automata. There's also a group of space pirates that he meets. He learns that there have been multiple different civilizations on the moon, and with Enel's electricity powers thanks to his devil fruit, he's able to power the automata and their electric city. So Enel basically becomes the god on the moon. So now for the theory, it's not anything super deep. You can make it really deep if you wanted to, but the main part of the theory is that Enel will be coming back to the One Piece story sometime during the Elbaf arc. I don't think he's going to show up in Elbaf with the Straw Hats, but instead he'll be mentioned in one of the side chapters or something, that he's like on an island or in the ocean. He's been spotted somewhere with his little mini robot army. That makes more sense to me than him returning in Elbaf specifically. But we're at the point where there's not many arcs left in One Piece, so if Enel's going to come back, I feel like it would have to be right around this time during the Elbaf arc, or maybe, like I said, the theory can get even crazier. Enel doesn't come back, we go to Enel in a special moon landing arc. There have been crazier things in One Piece. Like I said, it's confirmed that the moon's had several different civilizations, so there could be some big things revolving the story, what the One Piece is, or even the Void Century that can be answered on the moon. And knowing Oda, the moon is probably connected to Joy Boy somehow. Believe it or not, there's already a connection between the celestial dragons and the moon. The celestial dragons, as we know, believe that they are above normal humans, or peasants as they like to call them. And one of the quotes that we hear them say is, "We can't breathe the same air as those peasants." Maybe because at one point these celestial dragons couldn't breathe air because they're from the moon. Throughout the centuries, as their bodies adapted, they could start to breathe the air that's on the One Piece Earth, and maybe the quote started as "we can't breathe air" and it turned into "we can't breathe the same air as you." It's a tiny connection, but it is something that could connect the celestial dragons to the moon. The whole thing's crazy, but there have been theories that make way less sense than this, and I really feel like Enel and the moon's gonna come into play at some point. Moving on to another theory about someone returning, we may as well talk about Doflamingo. I've heard and seen a lot through the grapevine, whether that was me scrolling on TikTok or reading through Reddit posts, but a lot of people seem to think Doflamingo will for sure come back and be in the final war, wherever that's at. The general theory is that the war will be in the Holy Land Marie's Wa. One of the theories states that Doflamingo's part in this war will be using his birdcage ability, the one that destroyed almost all of Dressrosa. Yeah, using that on the celestial dragons. The birdcage probably can't hold people in it like the 5 elders, but I could definitely see the general celestial dragon public being terrified inside of it. I can already imagine the St. Charles panel that would be there. However, there are some major flaws to this theory. First, for this theory to happen, there would need to be another theory to come true, and we start to go down this theory rabbit hole, with that other theory being a second Impel Down prison break, because after Dressrosa, that's where we see Doflamingo being sent to. We already know that Bon Clay is still alive from a few cover stories. He became the new leader of floor 5.5 where Ivankov was, the little hole in the wall, and since Doflamingo is also there, it doesn't make much sense for me if he was to just sit there and rot in Impel Down until the end of the series, especially since it's revealed that he has celestial dragon blood. That's not something that's just going to be revealed and then we never see him again and he sits in prison forever. So I'm a big believer in this theory that a second Impel Down prison break will happen, and I really do think there's like a 95% chance we see at least some characters get freed from Impel Down. But like I said, that takes us further down the rabbit hole to a third theory on top of the original one, how this prison break happens. And this one I found on the deep web on a random questionnaire website. But this theory takes place just before the final war, and the Straw Hats are all preparing for that war, but they're not together anymore. Similar to the time skip, they're all doing their own little side missions. but we're not having a time skip, so it already doesn't make a lot of sense for how they'd all be doing their own side missions in different parts of the world right before this final war. But let's keep going. So they're all doing their own thing, and Frankie decides he wants to go to Impel Down to try to find Tom. If you don't remember, Tom is his father figure that he grew up with in Water 7, and he got sent to Impel Down. So Frankie takes this journey to Impel Down. He finds a way to infiltrate the prison, and that's when he meets Senor Pink. And we get this little parallel of Senor Pink being his duo inside the prison, like Bon Clay was Luffy's duo. So long story short, the infiltration is a success. Frankie finds Tom and gets to talk to him, whatever. And this is how several prominent characters will end up being freed, like Doflamingo, Bon Clay, anyone else that's in there. Overall, this theory sounds cool, but I'm not gonna lie, it's so far-fetched. I don't believe it could ever happen at all. I think Frankie could match up against Magellan just because he's a cyborg, so his poison wouldn't really affect him. So that would be a pretty interesting fight to see, but I think we're too far down the rabbit hole at this point. So let's circle back all the way to the start with Doflamingo. The only concern I have is if he does escape, what side of the war will he be on? Because Doflamingo is proud of his celestial blood. He does believe that blood makes him better and above regular humans. It is true that he hates the celestial dragons, but he only really hates them because they rejected him. He loved abusing his power like every other celestial dragon when he was a young boy, and even after his family left, he tried to go back to Marie Joie with his father's decapitated head, and they still wouldn't let him back in. So that's where his hatred really stems. But now, if the 5 elders were to give him an offer to join their side, he might take it. I'm not 100% convinced that he would be fighting on the side of Luffy or just the opposition of the royal government. So that's the whole Doflamingo mystery. Some people think he's gonna come back. Other people think he had a great villain arc and you shouldn't mess with that and ruin it. Just let him be. But I don't think that's gonna happen. He's known to be a celestial dragon. I think that's gonna play a part in something in the future. So I'm curious about the whole thing, what you guys think. Comment down below if you think something's gonna happen in Doflamingo or your own personal theory with him. Okay, let's move away from the returns and the comebacks and talk about a normal theory. This one involves Aokiji, and the gist of this theory is that Aokiji is a double agent, meaning he's not actually loyal to Blackbeard, he's just playing a role and feeding information to someone else. I'm inclined to agree with this theory because I think it's really weird that Aokiji aligns his goals with Blackbeard. We know Aokiji has a strong sense of justice and a good heart. He shows that when he lets Robin go in both Ohara and Water 7, even with Jaguar D. Saul keeping him alive. Also, his fight with Akainu on Punk Hazard, he lost that fight and left the Marines because he knows Akainu's idea of justice is far from his own beliefs. So back to the double agent part, I think Aokiji is providing information to Dragon. Dragon is the only character this theory would make sense for. I can't think of anyone else that Aokiji would go to this length of secrecy and deception for. He's risking his own life by doing this. So if it's not for Dragon, it would just have to be for Aokiji's own motivations, which it very possibly could be. He was in the Marines and loyal to them for decades, but like I mentioned, he wasn't really a fan of the world government's motives, and he catered more to the morals of someone like Garp. So it's very possible that Aokiji losing to Akainu was the last straw and he just snapped. Instead of fighting for the government and the Marines, he's going to take justice into his own hands, and part of his master plan is befriending Blackbeard and his crew. I do want to make it clear, I don't believe for a second that Aokiji's mindset changed like that, and he's now completely loyal to Blackbeard. Otherwise, that would completely undo all of his development so far, like letting Robin go, us seeing him question people's morals, etc. Oda is too good of a writer for something like that to be the case here. Aokiji 100% has a plan. It's just a question of what that plan is and who he's working for. I also feel like Blackbeard knows this, and Blackbeard is a lot smarter than people think, and he's probably just using Aokiji while he can because he knows Aokiji is still a great asset, even if he's doing some scheming behind Blackbeard's back. So that's all I have to say about the Aokiji double agent. I think it's likely he's feeding information to the revolutionaries, or he's doing something on his own accord for his own master plan. Next up is a theory involving Luffy. I was scrolling through TikTok one night and came across this one, but I forgot to save it. So whoever posted this, I'm sorry, but I don't know who you are. But anyway, the gist of this theory is that Luffy will abolish all devil fruits. The reasoning behind this comes from Buggy not being able to go to Laugh Tale, which people think is because of his devil fruit power, and that people with devil fruits can't go to Laugh Tale. Then also the fact that Shanks has no devil fruit users on his crew adds to that. So in this theory, the only way Luffy can make it to Laugh Tale is if him and his other crew members don't have devil fruit powers. So Luffy will use his devil fruit power to turn his imagination or his desires into reality. In this case, his desire would be to get rid of all devil fruits so he can go to Laugh Tale, and it will also help him take down Blackbeard since his crew heavily relies on their devil fruit powers and they're overpowered. But I'm gonna put it bluntly, this theory is dumb, and there's multiple things wrong with it. First, I think this guy was confused and thinks it's a fact that devil fruit users can't go to Laugh Tale. That is not confirmed at all. That is another theory in itself, but I think Buggy getting sick before Laugh Tale was a simple way to write him and Shanks out of this story, because if those two were to go to Laugh Tale, there's no point in their characters right now in the anime. They already know what the One Piece is, they know what's there. Plus, let's be real here, if Buggy made it to Laugh Tale, he's telling everybody about that. He's using that for fame. He doesn't care. He's going to use it for clout if he can. So considering it's not a fact that devil fruit users can't go to Laugh Tale, it disproves the rest of this theory because there's no real reason that Luffy needs to abolish devil fruits. Next theory. Since we just talked about Buggy a little bit, let's stick on that. This theory is a lot more lighthearted and fun, but it is something that could very well be true. And basically, it's that people think Buggy is not a human. He's a different race. In this specific theory, someone thinks that Buggy is secretly a Lunarian, and Roger is the person who made him disguise as a clown. That way, it protected him from the world government. I told you this theory is a little less serious, but this person might be cooking. Sanji has extra genes in his body. Zoro's likely to be part demon, it seems like. So Buggy being a different race is not out of the realm of possibilities at all. And here's my spin on that theory. Buggy is in fact a different race, but not a Lunarian. At some point, Big Mom states that there are 3 lost races in One Piece. So far, we only know 2 out of the 3. One of them being Lunarians, the others the Buccaneers. So, it could be likely that Buggy is a descendant of this 3rd lost race, and that could play a much bigger part in the story than we think, because maybe that race is important to the Void Century or something. If this theory is somehow true, I do think it's a lot more likely that Buggy is one of these mysterious 3rd races, rather than a Lunarian. It would also explain his nose, because if you don't know, that red nose is real. People say it's a birth defect. It could just be that he's a secret race nobody knows about. Those are the theories I have for you guys today. Like I said, if you want me to do more theory videos, but with your guys' theories, make sure to comment down below and drop a like on this video so I know. Thanks for watching.